it is a valid concern, but no more so than data security in your own data center. In fact, statistics show that software firms and data centers that specialize, and this is their job every day from when they wake up in the morning till they go to bed, have a much higher security barriers than the average corporation that is not focused and isn't core competency around technology and data infrastructure. And so, though it's a valid concern, there are lots of ways and lots of standards that organizations are forced to go through in order to ensure your private information stays private. And corporations like ours and many others are pretty darn good at it. Cloud is really making a difference in several ways to the HR world and other business areas. First of all, it's changing the paradigm of the user experience. People are finally realizing that when they buy next generation solutions, cloud or otherwise, everything can become self-service. In the old days in the HR arena, you'd have manager and employee self-service, which were special, easy to use screens associated with large transactional HR and personnel systems. These days, everything is self-service because people are expecting a consumer-grade user experience, even if you're a payroll clerk or if you're an average manager and executive within an organization. So user experience is a big change, but that's not limited to cloud only. The other thing that the cloud is allowing organizations to do is to be able to have a hands-free upgrade experience. So often organizations have to deal with quarterly patches, annual or every 18-month major releases. The cost associated with that, the testing associated with that, the pain associated with that can really limit organizations' ability to keep up with the tempo and the features and the value that software companies are providing. So when software companies get to a point where they're not only having to edit and write their own software, but then also responsible for the deployment of all of it, it ends up being a much better value proposition for customers as well as for the market in general. I think what's changing now and what will change in the future is two major things. Number one, we can change how these processes work together. Things like the collaboration I meant before, things like big data, things like adding science to it. So the HR systems themselves can be predictive and help managers and executives and employees understand what do they need to do to get better at their roles so that corporations can achieve their objectives, and what are the kinds of skills, competencies, credentials, certifications that they as individuals can gain and learn so that they can do the changing nature of the job itself and the aspirations of the employees as they move forward. We call this talent optimization, and I think it can really make a difference. And so that's one major area where HR in the future and HR technology investments in the future can start to be more strategic for organizations. The other part is really about helping organizations drive the front office with back office solutions. So how can HR and employee and talent management solutions drive revenue for organizations, not just drive efficiency and operational processes? And that goes by understanding that the investments you're making in people technologies can't just be for inside and internally looking. 50% of most organizations, actors that they rely on to do their business every day, to accomplish their business imperatives, are non-employee. They're not just contingent workers or contractors, they're actually employees of partners. And if you're not investing in the learning, the product launch, the services, the competency framework, the training, the recruiting, the evaluation of your partner's employees, you're missing a mark. And if you do that right, you can start to drive not only efficiencies and productivity within your organization, but outside of that in the extended enterprise, and drive top-line growth, which is the real holy grail for getting a seat at the top table. Big data is a couple things. It's really about bringing operational data together with analytical data together to make good decisions for an organization. but it's also about something else, which is how do I provide my employees and my managers with all of the content that they need to make good decisions on a daily basis. In the next year to 5 years, HR executives need to start thinking about technology investments in one of two ways. How do I engage with my employee in a different way than I have in the past? And then, on a top-down basis, how do I use that engagement to optimize my talent? What that means to me and what that means to Infor is we've got to let every single employee know exactly who they are and what their mission is to the corporation, what skills, competencies, and goals that we want them to execute to on a daily, weekly, and ongoing basis in real time. And we need to be able to, we owe them, those employees, the understanding of how do they get better at what they do, and also what is their career path moving forward. So I not only know that I'm a 50% match to my present goal or role in an organization, I can see that I'm a 30% match to another goal or role in an organization, and I can start to aspire to making myself better and aligning myself with the corporation's business imperatives and business goals. What makes Infor HCM different than other providers in the marketplace is we coexist with the investments that you've already made. We unify the employee experience without having to rip and replace all of your HR and employee systems. That's a big difference, and it really sweats the assets and makes sure that you're not just putting in solutions for some technology firm's strategy, but you're doing it when it has business return and makes business sense. We have twice the depth and breadth of other solution providers in the marketplace at a reasonable cost, and we've got a way to coexist with the systems and the solutions you have in place so you're not forced to rip things out before you're ready.